Hi everyone, we're here with the VSuccess initiative. I'm Mario Michas. Maya.
Hi everyone, my name is Maia Fukuyama and I'm in my second year and I'm a psychology major at Vanier College.
We're here with Professor Rueb of the French department. Professor Rueb, could you please present yourself?
Hi, my name is Avery Rueb. I am a teacher in the French department. I'm also a coordinator of what's called a pedagogical coordinator. And I also help run Launchbox, and I started a major called the Innovation and Creativity major. And I'll be also running a game jam next year. I don't know, that was a very long introduction, but that's what I do.
Thank you.
And what would you say are your most memorable moments at Vanier College?
That is a good question. My most memorable moments at Vanier College. Well, I have loved being one of the mentors for the Launchbox program. So Launchbox is a program where students can do any project that they want. It's kind of like entrepreneurship, but it doesn't have to be for profit. It can be not for profit. It could really be any project that they're interested in, volunteering, cooking, whatever. And we work with them throughout the year to kind of help bring their projects to reality. And one of the things I love is what we call demo day, which is our final kind of presentation day. So the teams that have kind of performed, and we work really hard on their presentations so that they're really clear and convincing, and they learn the kind of the ways to present a project to a group of judges, expert judges, and there's money on the table. Sometimes there's thousands of dollars to win. So they're really motivated and they do a great job. And honestly, at the end, I really feel incredibly proud because I feel like they've learned something that's really important, how to pitch their projects and tell the world about their projects. But they really are doing all the work themselves. Like I kind of give them guidance, but they really are the ones driving everything. And I really like that kind of work where the students are doing the driving and I'm kind of just there as kind of like a helper and like an assistant. And I love that. And so the demo day is really fun and I really love that.
Yes, it must be a really educational experience for the students. It teaches them how to really apply themselves in a way that's more realistic for the workforce later on.
Yeah, and it's the project that they choose. So, they really are driving everything.
So you come from an Anglophone background. What led you to study French at the university level?
That's a good question. Honestly, it's a little bit weird. I started when I'd taken French in high school and I didn't really like it very much. And then I was at university, and this was really before YouTube. I know that doesn't even seem like it's possible, but there was a time before YouTube. And I really never heard anyone speak French before. And I was in a class about movies, and the teacher showed us a movie in French. And everyone was speaking French, and it was really amazing. I'd never heard anything like it before. And I was so really taken it that I called my university and I said, well, how do I go and take a semester abroad in France? Is that even possible? And they kind of told me how to do it. So I did that for a little while. I lived in France for 4 years. I really loved that. I was learning French and studying and teaching. And then I came back to the United States, because that's where I'm from. And I was really a little bit sad that I wasn't living in a Francophone world. And someone told me I should check out Montreal because it was French speaking and in North America. And honestly, I didn't really know that it was this French speaking. I thought it was kind of like Louisiana where a few people spoke French. And it turned out it wasn't the case at all. So I came for a weekend. And after an hour, I was like, okay, I want to live here. What do I have to do? And then I started to understand the whole paperwork situation, how to become a permanent resident. And I became a citizen about 4 years ago. And I've been living here for about 14 years now. So just the 6-month winter is a little bit long. But other than that, I really love everything about Quebec and speaking French in Quebec.
Yes, it's really nice to see that sort of French brought you in Canada and in Montreal. It's nice to see that.
A little bit like my students, I chose French, so I really love it. Sometimes my students, they don't always love French because they don't feel like they've chosen it. So I try to remind them that there is, a way to kind of fool your brain into thinking that you have chosen it and you become more motivated, which is better. But I know it's not always easy, but I try to use myself as an example, and sometimes it works, not always.
And where would you say your interest in teaching stems from?
That is also a good question. I was the first job I ever had. I was about 17 years old, and I did well on a math test, and someone said I should be a math tutor, and I started doing that. And then when I was living in France, it was actually the easiest job to get because of paperwork. I was able to get kind of like a permit to work there, being an English teacher. And I always loved it, but I didn't really know that like people didn't always love their jobs. And when I came back and I met some of my friends again from university, and they said they hated their job, and I kind of didn't even understand how that was possible, because I was like, well, you get to choose your job. Well, why would you hate it? But I mean, I was also simplistic too. I mean, they were maybe building careers that they were, somewhat, long term. But for me, I just loved it from the get go. So I was really just in love with it, and I really never looked back. And it's the thing I love most. And it's never hard for me to get up in the morning. Yes, I think that we can do better in education, and we don't always do a perfect job. But I like working and trying to make education better, and language learning and all types of education better. So I'm always motivated to come to work, and I love Vanier for about a million different reasons. So I'm just really happy to be here.
Yes, and it's very inspirational. Teachers who are very passionate about teaching and really passionate about education often make the best professors, and here you are.
Well, I didn't do anything to have this happen to me. I was very lucky. I'm very grateful that I love my job and I get to work at Vanier. So I'm as thankful as anyone that I get to be here.
You recently created the Creativity and Innovation major at the college. Could you sort of describe what that major is about?
Yeah, it's a little bit about this idea of choosing what you want to do and working on projects that are really interesting to you. I know Maia works on a lot of projects. I think you do, Mario, as well. When you choose a project and you're kind of excited about it, you're driven differently than if someone's telling you how to do the work. Not that being told how to do work is bad. It's just a different type of kind of relationship to learning. So I want to promote as much as I can where kids choose what they want to do. And the creativity and innovation, the major is really about how do I learn to become more creative and more innovative, because the 21st century is a little bit crazy with all these different kinds of inventions and the changes in the job market. So I want students to be as adaptable as possible, as flexible as possible. So I want to give them a chance to kind of learn how to be creative and innovative. So, if they're in a job market and that job market changes, that they can, pivot quickly and be able to be employed and be able to have a full life, even if the self-driving car or robots or artificial intelligence comes and kind of changes the workforce. So it's really about loving what you do, but also being flexible in the 21st century economy. Those are the two main drivers of that major.
Yes, it's very important for you to allow students to be self-explorative, to sort of explore their different horizons and to sort of see what they might be interested in doing later on.
That's a little bit of it. Like, if I do a project now, how could I turn that into a job, and how could I turn that into a career? If I really like it, how can I kind of push it forward? Or even how do I turn it into a hobby? That's also something that's really great. I think I'm not all about, somehow having a career and having a job. I think, learning an instrument or painting or volunteering, these are kind of hobbies that we have. Cooking, I think these are just as valuable as anything else we learn. So, in the creativity and innovation major, you can work on hobbies as well.
So speaking of hobbies, do you have any interests outside of the academic world that you'd like to speak about?
Yes, I do. I help run a small company where we make games where you learn. We call them learning game or educational games. Sometimes they're called serious games. The idea is that you play a game and you learn something. And I love this field because it allows me to kind of work on creativity and innovation and, being in a startup, so that I get the excitement of kind of living in this world. And we make, games for like not-for-profits. We've made a game for alloprof. We've made a game for classrooms. We've made games for pharmaceuticals. Doctors play our games to learn how to be a better doctor. So I get to kind of learn how to make these games and do something really innovative, but then I can take all that learning back to the campus here at Vanier, and I'm able to show students kind of how to do their projects better by showing them all the mistakes that I've made. So I try to let students know, you don't have to listen to me, but here's a mistake that I made that you can kind of avoid, and it'll save you time and money in the future when you're running your project. So it's good to have someone who's made a lot of mistakes before you, because it helps you to kind of avoid those mistakes yourselves.
Yes, and it's amazing that you were able to integrate your passion for education and actually integrate it with one of your own personal hobbies and make that into a technological innovation that you could then use to mentor other people. Very inspiring.
That is kind of how I do it. And yeah, and that's why I started this majors, because I lived in that world as well, and I love both of them. So I want to kind of combine my jobs and my passions, just like I tell the students to do.
Okay, and on that note, about your different initiatives and projects, you sort of co-founded the Affordance Studio. Could you elaborate on what that is?
That's the studio where we make learning games. So we work with different clients. Like we work with a pharmaceutical, a game where doctors can play and they can earn these credits. Right? You have to kind of like take these learning modules and do them throughout the year so that you can stay certified as a doctor. So we help doctors to have more fun when they're learning and they're earning these credits. We also make games, for instance, for classrooms. We made language learning games. In the past, we used to make one about negotiations where two people had to kind of talk together to learn how to speak in a second language. And we sold that to a bunch of schools, and that was really fun. So it's really the idea of learning, putting learning together with gaming, high quality learning. So it's not just like, playing a game and then doing a little bit of learning or doing a lot of learning and not having a lot of fun. It's trying to figure out a way to have a lot of fun and have a lot of learning at the same time. And it's quite a challenge, but it's really fun. And I work with really great people and I have a great time and I laugh a lot. And again, it's all about, putting my passions and my interests together and turning that into a career.
Yeah, it's sort of, it's good to combine having fun and sort of progressing on the road to self-improvement at the same time.
Yeah, the research says that the more fun you have, the better you learn. So there's a lot of studies out there that say that, and I try to practice what I preach and also make tools that help people to kind of live that way and learn that way.
So in addition to being involved with the Affordance Studio, you're also the co-founder of the EdTech Association. Would you care to elaborate on what that role entails and what you've achieved there?
Sure. That's a not-for-profit that brings together different companies and not-for-profits that promote educational technology. So, we have companies like NetMath. I don't know if you ever played NetMath as a kid here, but it's like a math gaming platform that I think about 400,000 students in Quebec play. Apple is one of the members of the association, and we talk directly with the Ministry of Education to help promote educational technology as a vector of change in learning. And they give us money to promote different initiatives to let people know that technology can be a help in learning. It's not the only way to learn. Teachers are amazing, books are amazing. You don't always need technology, but that technology can be a help in the learning process. And we have about 80 different companies that are part of the association. We received about $1 million to make a training center for teachers in order to kind of have them understand how to better use technology to help their students to learn more effectively. So it's a really fun organization, and it's the first time I've been working in a non-for-profit, and I was on the board of directors for about 4 years, and that was really fun, and I learned a lot, and now I can teach students about what it is to be in a not-for-profit as well as a for-profit company.
Yes, it's very interesting and also very pertinent to today, I believe. If we've learned anything from the pandemic, it's that we kind of have to work with technology going forward in the educational realm.
Right. It's not the only way to learn, but there is value in well-designed technology for learning. That's what I would say.
Exactly.
And what would you say inspires you the most in your current life, your careers, so on?
Well, I get excited about a lot of things. I probably get excited about too many things. I probably should tone down my excitement and just concentrate on a few things and not so many things. I think the thing that's most exciting to me is when students become independent learners. I think that's the thing that I always am focused on most. How does the student become independent and not need me really as a teacher? I think that's the most exciting moment. I try to practice what I preach. I teach a class called Running Your Own Passion Project. And I tell all the students that they're the CEO of their learning and I'm the secretary. Yes, I can give them feedback, and yes, I can kind of organize stuff for them, but really they're the decision makers in their projects. And we have different projects, like someone's trying to sell trees, another one's making a YouTube channel to promote Christian rock, another one's putting together a project, clothes, how to help South Asian workers who make jewelry, to get them money when they make their jewelry. So not only pay them, but also pay them more money for their amazing work. So there's a lot of different types of projects. And so far the feedback has been pretty good, where the students say that they really like being the CEO of their learning and they like having me as the secretary. So far we're doing a good job.
Yes, I think it's the number one goal of many teachers to sort of foster a sense of independence and autonomy from their professors.
I think that that's the most fun. If you have to depend on a teacher, that's cool. And the teacher, you know, if you get along well with the teacher, but it's really cool when you can kind of spread your wings and do your own thing. That's what I try to get the students to learn how to do.
And do you have any parting academic, professional, or life advice that you'd like to share with our viewers?
I think that the faster you fall in love with something and you learn how to turn that into a job or career, the happier you're going to be in your life. So I think right now you should start thinking about what do you really love to do, and how can I turn that into a job and a career. And if you want any help, you can always reach out to me, Avery Rueb, and I've been doing this for you know, in classes and in extracurricular activities and like in the Launchbox program. So reach out to me or any of your teachers and try to figure out a way to turn your passions into a job or a hobby or a career. I think that's the most fun way to live your life.
Definitely, that's a great piece of advice. And we encourage all students to reach out for the career counseling resources available and to reach out to any professors that they feel could help them on their path.
So we've come to the end of the interview. I hope you all enjoyed it. For our viewers, and Professor Rueb, thank you for being here. Maia, also thank you for being here as well. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, everybody.